StitchyTube, settle down and watch StitchyTube again in 2025. Hey everybody, long time no see. Here I am. It's good to be here. I've been wanting to make one for a while. I have a lot of people ask, like, why don't you make those anymore? I've had a busy couple years. You can see that my location has completely changed. The room is different. Some of our cat situation is different. The business is a little different. Life is a little different. And all in all, you know, for the most part, life is better than it was a couple of years ago. I'm going to spare everybody like the whole story of like what's been happening with me the last couple of years. Just a couple of highlights. The last time I made a video was just after market 2 years ago in 2023. And a couple of months later, my dad passed away after about an 8-year battle with Alzheimer's. The last year or two were particularly bad. The last 6 months was terrible. And so even though that loss had been looming for a while, it's still hard when it happens. And we, of course, still miss him all the time. One of the nice things is that now we're able to remember him from happier days, better days when he was vibrant and healthy and, able to really enjoy life. And so that was a tough loss. A couple of months later, we lost Ruby, and you may remember Ruby as our black cat. We adopted her many years ago, Easter week, I think, when we went to volunteer at PetSmart to socialize the cats. And Ruby just kind of got sick all of a sudden, and it was a pretty quick downturn. And so that was a tough loss in November. That was November of 23. Not too many months after that, it was about a year ago. Well, when was it? June-ish, maybe? Early June, we lost Zero as well. And you will, of course, remember Zero as our gray cat who liked to be held like a baby. And he was just one of my favorite beings, and we enjoyed many years with him. He had been struggling with his health for a while, and life had gotten pretty tough for him. He started losing weight, and unfortunately, we had to let him go. But we have, again, many happy memories and pictures and video, and so we're just lucky to have had him in our lives. We also had a wedding in the family. My son Harrison got married last, when was it? May 10th, and that happened in Pennsylvania. They got married in Philadelphia, where they were living at the time. She is from the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. They had met in Colorado when Harrison was in grad school. We think the world of Ashley, and they're just a wonderful couple. They have so much fun together, and they're kind of just the perfect pair. Anyway, we had come to the wedding in May 10th, and we liked it here. I had been through Pennsylvania. I think I went to Hershey when I was little on a family trip, just as we were driving through. But we really liked Philadelphia, and Harrison and Ash bought a house here. And so we had just gotten to a point where we didn't love where we were at anymore. Steve wasn't in love with his work, what he was doing, had been doing for 18 years. And I said, let's go to Pennsylvania and start over and make some fun memories, meet some new people, have new experiences. And, I just think our time in the South was done. So then we just kind of decided that after we got back from the wedding, and we started getting our house ready to put on the market. And actually, I was like, let's move this year in 2025. And, but we just started looking at houses, just out of curiosity. And we kind of got excited then about the area and like seeing, the kind of houses that might be available. And we found one that we loved, and we got it, and which was so fortuitous. And we love our house. We love our neighborhood. We love our neighbors. We've gotten to know them. It's a quiet little neighborhood, kind of back behind. We're like 5 or 10 minutes from all of the modern conveniences. But we're in a neighborhood that has a house from the 1700s. We've got barns from the 1800s. There's a family that lives just in our neighborhood here, that their family has lived here since 1850. And they just still live on the family farm. I look out over the hills of the Lehigh Valley and into cornfields. We have deer go through our yard and a whole bunch of squirrels. We've got so many trees, including some beautiful black walnut trees. And it just is pretty great. It's pretty great. And it's been fun to be in a bigger community with more amenities, just better shopping, better antiques, more fun things to do. I've taken classes at a lovely little place in Hereford called the Bee and Bear, which is about 14 minutes from my house. She is in a really cool old general store from, I think from the 1800s. And her name's Katie. I think she also has an Etsy shop, but she teaches classes pretty regularly. I took a rug hooking class and I learned how to hook rugs, which was super fun. And I took a class where I made one of those wool trees that go in the stand. That's kind of like the shaggy wool tree. Her shop is cute as can be, and she is the nicest. And so if you're in the area, I really highly recommend the Bee and Bear. I've also gotten to know the gang over at Stitches Unlimited, which is in Lancaster, about an hour from here. And such a nice crew over there, such a cute little store. Pat, the owner, is super nice. I got to go to an event there. We did a trunk show. And I've got an event coming up there later this year. What else have the farmer's market. So Steve and I moved and we felt like tourists. Like all of a sudden we were in this area and it's like, oh my gosh, there's a million things to do. So we just started doing a little bit of everything. The first couple of months we were here, we would go to the grocery store like at night and just be like, look at all the kinds of beans they have. Because we were in a community for 18 years that was nice enough and convenient enough, but it was, a town of like 40,000 people. We're in a valley now with 1 million people. And so the variety of foods, the bagels, oh my gosh, the bagels. I got to write the bagels down. I was born in New Jersey, and my dad grew up and lived in New Jersey for a good chunk of his life. And so I'm kind of from this neck of the woods. And so the people here I find to be funny and charming and really kind and polite. And I tell that to people here, and I'm like, people here are so nice. And they're like, really? I'm like, they totally are. People here are so nice. We were having trouble with some equipment here at the house, and I called a guy. And I was like, oh, this is waking us up at night, and we're just trying to get it fixed. And so he was like, oh, I don't think I can get due for a few days. And I was like, it's okay. It's fine whenever you can make it. Well, he made a point to like come over ASAP and then fixed it and was as nice as could be. And then just didn't charge us. And was like, yeah, it's fine. I was in the neighborhood, so it's fine. And, it's just a pretty great area of the country. I never would have heard of it if Harrison hadn't met somebody wonderful. This is not Ruby's replacement, but a friend we met after we lost Ruby. Her name is Zuzu. She is the smartest cat. Look at the camera for everybody. She's so cute. She's very, very, very smart. She's really sweet. Very social, and we've just really enjoyed getting to know Zuzu. She's named after the character in It's a Wonderful Life. You remember that Jimmy Stewart's character, he has a daughter who's trying to go to sleep and she can't because her flower petals got crushed and some of them fell off, and she's sad because she wants the petals back on the flower. And it ends up being crucial to the movie that he has petals in his pocket. And so her name was Zuzu, and we adopted her just before the Christmas season started. And we just thought Zuzu was just such a cute name. And it it's a little bit of a sassy name. And so anyway, and she loves pens. You want a pen? Anyway, where was I? Oh, so anyway, there's so much to do here. And we people say, like, how do you like it in Pennsylvania? How are you like in Pennsylvania? We're in Macungie, which is a tiny little part of the Lehigh Valley. But here it's a whole bunch of people in all of these little towns. So you don't feel like you're in a big city. You feel like you're in a small town that's just in a cluster of other smaller towns. If you've heard of Allentown from Billy Joel's song Allentown, we are just like 10 minutes from Allentown where our son lives. They told us we couldn't move more than half an hour from their front door. So we are 10 minutes from their house, which is very nice. People say, how do you like it in Pennsylvania? We don't like it here. We love it here. We love it here. It's just a great place to be. We got to know, one of the things we really started doing was going to the farmer's market every weekend. nearby in Emmaus, which if you live near here, oh my gosh, you need to go to that farmer's market. Right now it's only every other Sunday, but then once the season really starts up, it's every Sunday from, I think it's 10 to 1. And it's all very, where they've really thought out, like they have a big variety of vendors, but everybody has to either grow or make or produce whatever they're selling. And so there is an apple orchard that they have hundreds of varieties of apples. Some of them, they only have 2 trees. Some of them are varieties from the 1700s. And every week we just were eating so many apples because it's like they have them and they describe the flavor of each. And some of them are ugly, and the ugliest apples taste the best. And so it's really fun every week to see what they have. They're of course not they're not open. The apple people aren't there right now because there's no apples. So you're really just getting stuff, and it's cheeses and meats. And there's a guy that sells raviolis and pierogies, which are delicious. There's a local distiller who's there who has some wonderful things. There's fresh food. There's fresh flowers. There's a place called the Flour Shop, Flour, and it's a bakery. My mouth is watering. It's been a while. We haven't gone lately because it's been cold. But they start Wednesday and they bake for days. And then they have all of these wood cases full of croissants and scones and muffins and cruffins, which is a croissant shaped like a muffin with like cream injected into it. There's cookies and breads and focaccia and torts. And there's a place that makes pretzels. There's a coffee place. There's a kombucha place. And they always have live music. It's around a fountain. You're buying from and talking to the people who are making, producing, creating everything that's there. So it's super fun to talk to them because they can tell you anything about their product. It's not a farmer's market where you go and you see a bunch of Dole boxes to the side because they've flown fruit in. It is from here. It is made here. And if you live anywhere close to here, it is one of our favorite things to do. Okay, so I was trying to think of like how I used to put these videos together. And I remember that one of my things was what I'm all into this week. And so I have a few things of what I'm all into right now. One of which is, I gotta try to fix my hair here. So when you shoot videos, you're not looking as if you're in a mirror. You're shooting as if you're flipped. So it's hard to know which way is which. Okay, so here's what I'm all into. There's a restaurant. We had to go yesterday to Lancaster to pick up some models that I needed to take to market. And it's about an hour from here. And then a few minutes from there is a town called Lidditz. And it's an old town with big, beautiful houses. And there's like kind of a main street area that's full of just really cute little shops. Like there's a kitchen store, and there's a tea shop, and there's a chocolate shop, and there's a gluten-free bakery, the oldest pretzel maker on the continent. Like the whole continent is on that street. There's antiques, there's women's clothing stores, there's gift shops, and restaurants. And so we love this place called the Bull's Head Public House. And the building has been there for hundreds of years. And I think in 2011, somebody bought the building and turned it into an English pub style establishment. And it's got a fireplace, like a real fireplace. And it's got tall tables and short tables and booths. And it looks like you're walking into an old English pub. It's got crazy patterned carpet. It's got cool pictures all over the walls. And it's supposed to be one of the best beer bars in America if you like beer. The food is amazing. It's like pub style food. And so you can get like chicken tikka masala. You can get bangers and mash. They do a full English breakfast on Saturday mornings. You can get a Scotch egg. Anyway, what we liked, so we went, the first time we went, it was like last fall. And they had this thing on the menu called the turkey sandwich. And it's basically Thanksgiving dinner on a plate. So it's mashed potatoes, like real mashed potatoes, with crusty bread they get locally, cranberry jam, huge chunks of juicy turkey, and then sage gravy. And the first time that we went, that's what we had. We each got it because it looked like really good. It was just kind of getting to be that time of year. And Steve and I basically just stopped talking and we ate this turkey sandwich and mashed potatoes. And we were like, that is the best thing I've had to eat in a year, clearly. That was amazing. So we took Graham when he was here around the holidays, and we were able to go again this weekend since we were just nearby in Lancaster. But would really recommend Lidditz, the main drag. It's a super fun little place to visit. You can pay to park on the street. It's like $1 an hour to pay to park. And you actually can put your credit card in the machine to pay for your parking. It's a great little place. Okay, here's what else I'm into. My New Year's resolution this year was stitch every day. And, sadly what happens when you have a busy couple of years, which I've had, really since the pandemic, it's been super busy, is I kind of had slowly over time, I hadn't stopped stitching entirely, but it was kind of like little islands of stitching. And I missed it. Like it was kind of like, oh, there was the song I used to like, and I haven't heard it for such a long time. And I was like, Trish, you need to just make an effort to stitch a little bit every day, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes. And the other thing I decided was some days I may not feel like stitching, or some days I might just be too busy too. And I wasn't going to give up on my resolution if I missed one day. I think a lot of times people make a New Year's resolution and they think like, oh, I'm going to diet. I'm only going to eat salads. And then you just can't help yourself and you eat a double quarter pounder with cheese or something one day. And you're like, that's it. The New Year's resolution is over. I can't do this anymore. And I just decided I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for more fun. And so I have a little stitching chair to the side that I got when we moved here. I got rid of the one that I had in my room, and it's got a window over my shoulder. I've got a really pretty lamp that Steve bought me for Christmas that it's kind of looks like a Tiffany. It's not a Tiffany lamp, but it looks like one. And I put my laptop up, I watch videos or I listen to music, and it's just been so nice making an effort to get back to it again. It really is. There's a reason I'm in this industry, which is that I love to stitch. And so really glad to be doing that again. I'm also into geese and deer. We have a good number of deer in the neighborhood just because of we have cornfields there, and our yard is kind of a throughway. I think the deer probably pass through our yard once a day.
Ooh, they're jumping. Look at them go. Weep. Aww.
Maybe twice a day. Like they might go this way one direction, and then sometimes we see them going back the other way. We've seen as many as 14 at a time. It's really cool. We didn't have deer. We had deer in Mississippi. We just never really saw them in our neighborhood. And because our little street here is just a couple of houses with a lot of, like farmland around it, we just feel like we're more in nature, which is really nice. And we've, now that the seasons are changing, we're seeing a lot of geese, like the Canadian geese, like big ones. And I know that sometimes geese get a bad rap. People are like, geese are mean. Geese are jerks. You're like, oh, look at the beautiful geese. People are like, geese are, I don't like geese. Geese are mean. I like geese. They're cute. They're doing their thing. Like, leave them alone. It's like they don't have to be nice to humans. They're just eating grass or whatever it is that geese do. I enjoy seeing them. Another one of the places that we've gotten to know around here, it was one of the first places we ate. We've just really made an effort to try a lot of things. And one day we were driving around doing errands, and there was this little place that just was in just like a, little standard strip mall with like a nail place and a car rental place. And it just said the Sahara Mediterranean. And it was just kind of a nondescript little place. And we walk in, and it's very clean. It's very tidy. It's very tastefully decorated. It's not huge. It's maybe like 30 tables. And the owner's name is Tom, and it's Mediterranean. And he is Greek, I believe. He used to be have a corporate job in New Jersey, actually, where I was born in Edison. And we fell in love with him right away. He is a hoot and a half. He loves his business. He is passionate about his food and doing a good job. The food is incredible. It is so fresh. Our favorite thing is the chicken souvlaki sandwich, which is he marinates the chicken. It is so delicious and just fresh. And the dressing is, it's like that cucumber, like herby kind of yogurty dressing. And we get the hummus, which he makes from scratch from actual hummus, like dried hummus. So he gets it from some wholesaler. He said it takes a day and a half to make it. They soak the beans multiple times, and they're blended in a food processor, so it's very, very creamy. My mouth is watering. It's so good. And then we just discovered the shepherd's salad, which they make there too. I had to write it all down what's in there. So it's chopped tomatoes, mint cucumber, like the tender English long cucumbers where the seeds are not so tough. Purple onions, green peppers, parsley with a lemon dressing. It's probably like lemon and like salt and pepper and olive oil, I would guess. And it is so fresh tasting and it tastes so healthy. And the other day I was like, I just need to get one of those salads. They're like $10 and you get so, like, I ate on it a couple times, but they don't make it until you order it, because he said otherwise the tomatoes, they get the juice comes out of them and they don't taste fresh anymore. And you gotta, this, but he's just the nicest guy. And you're like, Tom, this is great. He'll be like, thank you. Oh, he'll be like, do you need another drink? He'll say, like, I could use another water. Is that okay? And he's like, yeah, I'll get you another water. And then you say, thank you, Tom. And he goes, always. He's great. So again, if you live, it's just here, Macungie-ish, Allentown-ish, the Sahara restaurant, one of our favorites. He has our heart. Another thing, and I'm going to mention the bagels too. And so I grew up loving bagels. My grandma would come visit us from New Jersey, and she would bring us a huge sack of Jewish bakery bagels from New Jersey. And they were big. And this was back in the 70s. There weren't bagels at the grocery store in North Dakota. None. There were no bagels. And so we would only get them once in a while when she would come visit. I loved the pumpernickel and the poppy seed. The poppy seed is my favorite. But she would bring, like onion and egg. And I'm trying to think of what other flavors she would bring. Sesame seed. So it was just standard, there was no blueberry bagels at that point. But anyway, I like them with real cream cheese, like off the block. I don't like the whipped stuff. It's got to be off the block and chunky. So we tried a good number of bagel places around here. Our favorite place is called 3 Guys and a Bagel. Like 3 men and a baby, but it's 3 guys and a bagel. Or is it 3 men and a bagel? 3 men and a bagel. And it's actually right by the Hobby Lobby. And it's, it's another strip mall kind of place, but it's like that nice firm bagel, and they sell the pumpernickel every day and they sell the poppy seed every day. And those are the best ones. They have a delicious cranberry orange one that is also so good. They do some seasonal ones. The staff is really sweet, some sweet young ladies, and they do a great job. And so I was telling Tom, we were talking to Tom at the Sahara about like the food places we found. And I said, we really like 3 Men and a Bagel. He goes, oh, they're the best. They're Jews. The Jews make good bagels. And they are so good. So I think they have 2 locations, but that's our go-to for bagels here. Okay, the last thing that I'm all into is LaHaye's shaker boxes. And you might know him, or maybe you've seen his boxes around. He's been around for a few years, and I think I first bought a box of his for my friend Sue for Christmas one year. I think he used to have an Etsy shop, and now you have to go to his website. His name is Robert. He is a perfectionist. His boxes are beautiful. Sometimes they're painted, sometimes they're wood. They're always done in the old style, and they are done from, he's not ordering in like wood that has been pre-cut or anything. He makes it from scratch. Anyway, a couple of months ago, he announced that he was going to have some boxes that he was going to decorate the interior with a stack of old newspapers that he found in an antique shop. And, these are the kinds of things that eventually just break down. They weren't made to last forever. And so he said they were in pretty good shape, and I thought it would be a neat way to preserve history by putting these newspapers. So every box had a different interior. So anyway, you had to kind of pre-order one ahead of time, and I was like, I got to do this because I don't know if you know this, but my background is print journalism. Originally, I was going to be a newspaper journalist. Anyway, so I just felt like, and I love shaker boxes, and it's very needleworky, so it's like the best of everything. Anyway, I got my box a couple of months ago, and I just wanted to show it off. His craftsmanship is impeccable. I would highly recommend you go to his website. I'll put the link below. And get on his mailing list because he'll announce when he'll have boxes ready. I think he does take special orders. Get one when you can because they're just some of my favorite things. So this is what the box looks like here. You can see it's beautifully crafted. These are called fingers, these little parts. And he puts a stamp on the bottom. But you can see even like the tiny, tiny little nails here that he puts the base of the box together with. So it looks like a legitimately old box. I find these for sale all over here in antique shops. And if you find the old ones, they're like $300 or $400 or $500 sometimes for just a small one that's super beat up because these were just their Tupperware kind of. They would just store food, some food items in them. They were kind of pantry boxes. And anyway, so I got to show you the inside because the inside then is decorated with a newspaper. And so you didn't know what you were going to get. And so here's what the inside of the lid looks like. And he did coat it. They are coated so that they are protected. Like this isn't the raw newspaper here. And so that's really cool. And then the inside of my box looks like this. How neat is that? He just did a series of Civil War trays, and I got some of those too. And they're very neat. But we had a great time reading the articles. One of them was about a murder. And then there was an audacious robbery in Paterson, New Jersey. There were 5 outlaws surrounding his bed with cocked revolvers pointed at his head. The world was an intense place. But anyway, how neat is that? Highly recommend Robert. Always into LaHaye's shaker boxes. I don't know. Can you have too many? I do actually store things in them. I haven't found what I'm going to put in here yet. I hate to cover up the newspaper. So I'll have to put something gentle and soft and sweet in there. Right? Okay. That's what I'm all into this week. Okay. Now, I historically have done a list of 10 things, and ironically, I've got 10 releases for Market. And I was thinking, what was going to be my list of 10 this time? And I also have to talk about Market. And why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone and talk about my 10 things that I have for Market? I put them down in alphabetical order, but I think I'm just going to pick them up as I have them because they just have kind of a clump around me. It was kind of nice to get ready for this video today. I was like, oh, I miss doing this. To just have everything kind of surrounding me so that I can do a show and tell. Now, some of these were released last year as like limited things or, retreat things. My friend Kathy Krause stitched a couple of them, and then Chris Candidate stitched one of them for the retreat. And I'll talk about those as I get to them. I'm super, super proud of my Market releases this year. I think it's my best batch ever, honestly. And I wouldn't change a one of them. I think I just really enjoy them. I stitched a good number of them too. And so without further ado, let's talk about, I probably should, where'd my pen go? Hang on. It wouldn't be a StitchyTube if I didn't get up for a bit, right? I gotta go get this pen I threw over here. Okay, because I gotta mark them off to make sure I get all 10. All right, since they're not gonna be in order. So let's do this one first. Okay. I love this one. I want you guys to love this one. You need to love this one. I do reproductions. It's one of my favorite things to do, to sit down with an old sampler and reproduce it. Pick out the threads, pick out the fabric. To be honest, and I think most designers would say the same thing, the reproductions sell less well than seasonal things or like smaller things or original designs. I think that as a designer, it is important to me to keep my hands in these old samplers because it teaches me to be a better designer. You can see how things are put together, what makes a balanced design, what color looks like together, just, how things were shaped and formed. And I just think it's good for you. It's kind of like eating your veggies, but you love your veggies. So I got this sampler a couple of years ago online. I'm hoping I don't get too much glare. Let me try to do this and see if I can do this. Okay. So this is, you can see my window. This is the sampler that I bought a couple years ago. Super fell in love with it. It's so unique. The border is so, let's see, it's kind of crooked. it's so pretty and feminine. And I love that it's just kind of here and there, and it's wavy and it's undulating. She was 7 years old when she stitched this. It is French. It's got the alphabet, and then it says Fait par Félicie Artus, âge de 7 ans, l'an 18. So that means made by Félicie Artist, age of 7 years in the year of 18. So I think it's 1818 is probably what she meant. The borders are so pretty, and the sparseness of the details is chef's kiss, just wonderful. Because I think the tendency a lot of times, like if you look at other antique samplers, they were cramming symbols in there. They're, you know, cramming motifs in there and alphabets, and there's very little wasted space. But sometimes when you leave space, you're not wasting it. Sometimes the eye needs a place to rest. It gives the sampler like an airy, breezy, summery feel. It's not as many stitches. So like this one has about 15,000 stitches. And so it is very doable in terms of if you want to stitch something and not have it take forever. This is the reproduction. So pretty. How pretty is that? My friend Kathy stitched it, and I just think it's gorgeous. She said that it was super fun to stitch. I charted mistakes and all, and so the borders are not without mistakes. You do need to carefully watch your chart, and I think part of the charm then of the sampler is that it's not boom, 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 where the motifs are like right on, right on, right on every time. It's these little discrepancies that give it that kind of natural, organic look. The colors are so pretty. I think there's only 10 colors. I used hand-dyed cottons for the charting. It's got an A here in this little wreath for her last name Artist, I would imagine. And it's so pretty. And I'm really proud of it. I hope you guys like it. It definitely has a summery feel. It's on a fiber on a whim fabric, and I'll have that at market. I also tried to have the frame be similar to the original frame. Anyway, love it. All right, so that's number 1. Cross it off. Okay. All right, this one is called Kindness Makes Friends, and it was designed for the Quilter Station retreat last fall. And she Rita has a wonderful shop, and she has a lot of quilting fabrics. Beautiful. I came home with some beautiful quilting fabrics. And so I tried to work a few like spools of thread and some quilting, quilted stars to kind of, just commemorate that it was at a shop that also had a big quilting tie. I love a strawberry border. It's really just my favorite border because who doesn't love strawberries, number 1? And stitching the strawberries is fun too. I tried to give them a little bit of whimsy by adding, polka dots and varying the color in those. It's all full cross stitch. There's no over one. There's no specialty stitching except a few places of just like, a few straight stitches. It's just on 36 count, I believe, natural Edinburgh, and it's in a mix of DMC and overdyed threads. And so that chart used to be only available if you had gone to that retreat last year, and now it's available to purchase for anybody. So I really enjoyed this one too. I think it turned out really nice. Okay, so that's Kindness Makes Friends. I think I saw that on a sampler somewhere. I want to say that I think I saw that little phrase on a sampler somewhere. Sometimes it's nice to have the saying not be forever. Not everybody loves stitching big long verses, especially if they're over 1. Okay. This is a bonus one. So this isn't a market release, but I released this one at the end of the year. And it's called Glad Tidings. And I think he's just cute as can be also. This is stitched on 40 count Black Swan by Fox and Rabbit. And people are like, oh, so what's that bird? Is that like a seagull or it's like a dove? I was like, it's a white bird. It's a white folk arty bird with a weird tail. Anyway, I think it turned out really cute. It was fun to stitch. I love the little candy cane elements. And the frame I actually got, so I designed this to fit in a 6x8 inch frame, which is a standard size. It's not like a super well-known standard size, but I just found it on Amazon as a 2-pack, and I wanted it to look a little frostier, so I just dry brushed it with white craft paint, just acrylic paint. Anyway, I think he's really cute, and so this model will be there too. I always bring a lot of models. I take anything that's new since the last market, and then anything that I just either is a big seller or that sometimes I just take things and I'm like, I'm not going to sell that many charts of this. I just like it and I want people to see it. Okay, let's see, what do we got next? Oh, let's do these next. Okay, so last year, for the summer edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, I designed a piece called Summer Sampler Fragment. And it was designed after I saw, it was in an Etsy listing. Somebody was selling something, and behind that in the background was just a piece of a sampler in a frame. And you could tell it just had been chopped off. And it happens sometimes. You should not chop a sampler, by the way. Don't do that. But it was chopped off, and I'm glad they saved it because they put it in a little frame and it looked as cute as can be. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to design part of a sampler where it's like the whole thing is the fragment. There's no chopping involved. So I designed this piece for that issue, the summer issue of Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher, and it's called Summer Sampler Fragment. And you can see it starts at PQRST. The borders, you can see, just stop. They probably, go up. There's no other part to this sampler. I'm not releasing like a top. This is it. And I just thought the colors were pretty. The fabric is called Dark Soil. I used 40 count by XJU Designs. I love this color. It's kind of a mocha gray. It's a brown gray. And I just love the look of dark fabric with lighter threads. I think it looks, especially, for spring or summer, the tricky thing about designing for spring or summer is that I think sometimes the tendency is to go like all jelly bean, where it's like, pastels. Or like summer gets real beach towel-y, where people do like, reds and yellows and blues and bright greens and things like that. And I think, to me, if you want to do like sampler or folk art summer and spring, you have to go soft and dusty. And so that's kind of the look I tried to go with when I designed these. So that was in the summer issue, which I don't know if that's sold out or not, but the chart now will be available at market. And then for market, I designed the spring one, which is on the same fabric and looks like this. And this one, this side is chopped off. So I'm doing all 4 seasons, and each one is going to start in a different quadrant or section of the sampler. So the right-hand side of this one is chopped off. The top was chopped off of the last one. So the other 2 will have the other 2 parts chopped off. I don't know. I mean, it's an idea. So this one says La Maison on it, which means the house. And I got a little house with a basket here and a little bird with a wreath. And again, it's got the side chopped off. Does it continue? It does not. And the border is really pretty. Kathy said this was fun to stitch. And it is really pretty. The fabric just makes it look great. And so it's in a mix of over-dyed threads. Maybe a DMC. I'm kind of gotten so that I design with DMC and over-dyed cottons. Sometimes you don't need to have everything be over-dyed where everything has a little bit of variation. I think if there's too much variation, then it kind of gets hectic looking. And so sometimes you want colors to just be what they are all the time. Just be consistent. Okay. I have a series of Pennsylvania Christmas is what I called it. I had Pennsylvania Christmas 1, and that was Pennsylvania Christmas Deer, and that was taken from a Pennsylvania German show towel in my collection. I have a few, maybe half a dozen of them. Sometimes I find them for a really good deal. And I just think they're so pretty. I'll show you one here in a second. And they don't lend themselves totally to reproducing because the techniques that they used, I think a lot of cross stitchers would get frustrated with or just not really be interested in learning how to do. And so I turned one of the cut work and pulled work areas into a cross stitch pattern. That was the deer one. And then I had Pennsylvania Christmas 2, which came out last year, and that was 2 motifs from another towel, or 2 sections that were converted into cross stitch patterns. And they were so popular. And the silly thing is, you get ready for market and you work so hard on your reproductions and your stitching and your designing and everything. And sometimes the easiest things that you do that took the least amount of time of any of it is the most popular. And that's fine. That's great. That's great. But sometimes it's like, but I worked so hard on these other things too. Anyway, I have a new one in the series. I really just like maybe 6 weeks ago found this online. It came up as a buy it now on eBay, and I think I paid $79 for it, which is nothing. You can pay quite a lot for these, and this one is in excellent shape. Elizabeth, her name was Elizabeth Eberhard. And so there's her name at the top of the towel. And you can see she's got some motifs here. So pretty. I love the linen too. And these are long. They used to be hung in doorways, and they would showcase. I'll step back with this in a second. But anyway, look at those birds. They're pretty great. They're pretty great. I loved the birds. And her thread was kind of a variegated pink color. But anyway, I do them in reverse with white on the Aztec red linen by Weeks Dye Works, which is a really pleasing color combination. And I always use the olive trim from Lady Dot Creates. And so it's Christmassy without being Christmassy. People love an excuse to stitch on the red fabric. There just aren't a lot of designs that come out on this red, but it's a gorgeous color of fabric. And so it's just ecru DMC. And this, if this is stitched on 36 count, you need 2 skeins. I have gotten so that I back my pieces with linen scraps. You know how like you cut out of a half yard and you like end up with weird sizes left? I have just a bag full of scraps, and I feel, ooh, that smells good. I feel like sometimes, you know, when you back with just like cotton quilting fabric, you have two, it's like this on the front is sturdy and thick, and then the back is like thin and meant for quilting and other applications. And so then the back can end up kind of lumpy, or it just doesn't give the support. And so I use those scraps to back my pin cushions and my smalls now. And I love doing it that way. That's my preferred method now. And it's a good way to utilize those scraps that if you're not making 100 ornaments a year, you know, you sometimes can't use everything that you've got. So I did the same with this. I found a scrap. I think this was from my shop in Hattiesburg. That it's a old piece of R&R linen. I try to do a contrasting color. I just think it adds interest. I stuff with sawdust, and I bought some recently on Amazon. I don't love it, so I'm looking. I ran out of the stuff I used to get in Hattiesburg, and so I got to try to find a good source for exactly the kind that I like. This one I keep sweeping it off because it's kind of leaky a little bit. I probably should have lined that. But here I'll show you. Oh, the bottom section of this is really pretty too. So there's the birds, and then look at how pretty that is. I will reproduce this section of it as well. So I'm going to just stand back so you can see the whole thing. See how big it is? So pretty. So pretty. I don't know if I mentioned too, this is my stitching room now. This is not my office. I don't do work up here. I do design up here sometimes. The hutch behind me, we bought when we moved here. I wanted something to store fabric in. And there's a place called I think it's called Country Crafters. And it's kind of I would call it a vintage mall, not necessarily like an antiques mall. It's got a bunch of booths. And some stuff is like, you know, stuff from the 70s or the 60s, but some of it's old. This is from the 1800s, and it's called Tiger Oak, and I love it. And it was $300, and it's so heavy, and it's so tall. Like, I don't know if you can tell how tall it is. I'm 5'9". People are often surprised by that. When they meet me, they're like, "Oh, I thought you were shorter." It's like, yeah, I'm always sitting down when you see me, but like, I'm 5'9", and so like, look how tall this is. That's easily over 5 feet tall. It came with the key, still locks up, and it's sturdy as can be. And yeah, I just love it. It's so pretty. And I love that it's got, you know, it's got the glass all the way around it. Okay, so that was, what have I done? Pennsylvania Christmas birds. Okay, and then I did these two. So I'm going to show one that's MIA right now. I just realized today when I was pulling stuff together that I can't find my piece called Flowers That Bloom. So I'll put a picture here of the cover. And this was in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine spring of last year. And the verse is from the musical The Mikado, which I was in college. It was so fun. And it's just kind of a sweet little song. If you can find it here on YouTube, you should go listen to it. It is it's got a lot of tra-la-las in it. The flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, breathe promise of sunshine. It's Gilbert and Sullivan. And it's just a nice song. And so I was kind of inspired by that to design for the spring issue. So that one will be released at market, and hopefully I will find that model. I was thinking I would have designed it and photographed it and finished it while we were still in Hattiesburg this time last year. And so I still have some boxes to go through. I'm sure it's in a box, so I'm going to have to dig this week to try to find that last model for the show. Okay. Then, this is the last one that I'm releasing that was in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine last year. Pray for Peace, People Everywhere. I call it People Everywhere. Said to the shepherd boy. It's from that Christmas song. And pretty easy to stitch. I think it's mostly DMC with one color of sampler threads. A pretty quick little stitch, and it's got 2 little red deer buttons from the Bee Company. I love to use her buttons. Delphine from France. She's the best. And it was a really cute, fun little project. I think this is lined in olive chenille also, and then it looks like I lied to you because I did back this one in another fabric. Who knows why? But it is really just a cute, quick little Christmas piece, and I love the little wintry scene up here at the top. It's just like our backyard, lots of trees and some deer. And so that chart will be available at market as well. That's People Everywhere. Okay, got 3 more. Seems like they go on forever. Oh, I was going to show you this too. I started that Pennsylvania series with the Pennsylvania show towels, the red ones, before I ever knew I would be moving to this area. And I think it's just kind of interesting how that happened, that we're actually here now. In my book, Red Letter Day, I did reproduce another part of a show towel in my collection. And that's this here. I've got these cool little buttons here attached to it. And so if you have the book Red Letter Day, it's the very last pattern in the book. And I guess it was kind of the start of that series, right? It was the first time I reproduced a part of a sampler. Now, I took motifs from it and then arranged, like this was pulled from one area. These motifs were pulled from another area and scooched together. But it's really kind of a cute little, I really like it. It's in the photograph for this new release, the Pennsylvania release. So if you want one more in it's in the series. You could do it in the ecru on the red fabric. I do like it in the red. Who doesn't like red? Okay, so one of the things I have yet to do is make a few hundred kits before I leave. Things are going pretty well, I would say, overall. I wanted to do a kit this time. So when you sign up for market, you have to say whether or not you're going to have like a show exclusive kit or chart. They encourage vendors to do that to reward shops for actually physically coming to market. We want people to come to market because we want market to be successful. And so having things that you can only get as a shop if you physically come to market is a good incentive, right? And I think the stitchers generally also really like, the exclusives, because it's sometimes something that's like either a limited edition or it's just kind of something neat. Anyway, I didn't bring the sampler up. I'll pop a picture up here. So I have this sampler in my collection, and it is by a young lady named Anne Hand. And I fell in love with the sampler because of the little violet motif at the top. My grandmother, Carmen Bischoff, used to grow African violets in her living room. And as a girl, I really enjoyed them because they were very tactile. So she had some of those, and then she also had like dried flowers, and she had those big weird ones that it's like the seed pod where it's like a big circle with like misshapen balls like in it somehow. Those always creeped me out. But she had the African violets, and they had the perfect sunshine in the window they were in. And so they were always very healthy and full of flowers. And I loved touching the leaves because they were very like velvety, and they're, I don't know if you've ever noticed, like African violet leaves are pretty. If you flip them over, sometimes the colors on the backs of those leaves are so beautiful. Anyway, in the sampler, there are some motifs of violets in a basket or whatever. And I think I probably will reproduce the entire sampler, but I thought, I don't know, just in memory of my grandmother, that I would do this little pincushion, the little motif from it. And so this is the project. And so the motif is taken from the top. This motif is repeated, twice on the sampler. I did take her name and charted it as exactly as she stitched it. And then I pulled a little bird that she had on the sampler too. So everything on the pincushion is from the sampler and charted using the sampler as the model. It's just that it was assembled in a way to make this sweet little pincushion. So a couple of things about the kit. So the pins are not included. You might see these really sparkly purpley pins. I wanted some pins to stick in there, and I didn't have, I wanted purple. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought a couple of packs of just beads from the beading section. And I used some E6000 glue and just basically slid them up some sewing pins that I had, and then just put a dab of glue up there to hold the beads in place. And it was kind of fun, actually. And it would make a great gift to take to a retreat, to make some handmade pins and hand them out. And then it does not include, so I made a little pincushion as a base, just out of some scraps of velvet that I had from Dames of the Needle. And her velvet is so, so pretty. So I just made it slightly bigger than the pincushion. And then I got this twine at Hobby Lobby in with the ribbon. I love it. It's very, I actually still have it here on the table. So it's very, really thin, which I liked. Sometimes when you get this twine, it's kind of thick and chunky. But it was $1.99 and I've just got enough to do a few kind of things like this. I just liked that I was able to tie it together and not visually have that trim take up too much of the design. So the kit comes with the 40 count vintage country mocha linen, the sampler threads, a needle, there's finishing instructions, and then you also get 4 custom stickers, and you get 10 holy mollies. So they're basically cards that you can punch to use to hang threads from, or you can use it to label your fabrics, or you can use it as a tuck-in for like a gift right on the back, and then a floss ring. And so you get all of that, and the kits, there'll be kits at market, and it's exclusive to people who attend. I cannot ship them to you if you're not at market, you cannot buy them. But the chart will be available separately. And so if you really just want the chart and you want to do something else with it, or you want to stitch it on a different count, you can just buy the chart. And the chart is not marked exclusive, just the kit is. They're very time consuming to pack up just because there's a lot of pieces and parts. And so that is another one of my market offerings. I really like the way it turned out. It's really cute. Okay. This one too, I've posted here and there on social media, and some of my market releases are getting a lot of attention. This one I feel is not getting as much attention as others. And I'm telling you, I love this one. It is tricky now for me here because we are new to the community. And so we do not know, we're learning businesses that we like to work with. And I really miss Neblets in Hattiesburg, my frame shop, because they were so quick. I did find one that I bought this frame for, and then the next one that I'll show you. And Laura's very nice. Laura's Custom Framing in Emmaus. And so when I was getting ready for market, I was like, I have a lot of frames that I've just either picked up over the years or come across. And I thought, I'm going to design something just to fit in a frame I already have. I bought this frame, I think in Osage at the cross stitch shop there. And it was just hanging on the wall. I don't know if it was like left over from something or what the deal was. But so I literally designed this piece to fit the frame I already had. And here it is. And the saying actually comes from an old sampler that I saw some years ago. It says, "Hope, the balm of human life, soothes every misfortune." And I think that's a good thing to remember, that sometimes bad things happen to you, but you can always hope for better tomorrow. Again, I went with the real dusty colors on the dark soil linen from X Jude Designs. It's got a lot of different motifs on it. I like varying the border around a piece just because I feel like it's less boring to stitch if you've got just kind of a variety of things. I've been doing that for a good number of years. My Sweet Temper sampler has a varying border, and it's just, well, and of course my Savior's Praise has got a really wild border. But I want to make the borders fun to stitch too. I really do like the little tomato pin cushions and the strawberry emeries in the border. It's got a little barn. I'm very barn focused now that we live amongst the barns. And just a lot of really kind of countrified, there's a little chair and a little candlestick, and there's a little pair of scissors down here and a star. There's a little beehive with some bees around it, some thread. And then the little stitcher has got a hoop with a heart in it and a needle with thread. And I like her, she's standing on her heels. You see that sometimes on old samplers where they're standing on their heels like that, and it's very cute. So that one is called Hope, all in capital letters, and that is being released at market as a chart. All right, we are almost to the bottom. We are to the bottom, so this is the last one. Said before, sorry, I just knocked a button. Like I said before, sometimes the things that you spend the least amount of time on are the things that everybody is excited about. And it's not that, sometimes I guess, Steve said, I think the way to look at it is sometimes things just come together quickly. It's not that you spent less time. It's just that for some reason your idea was good. And, that doesn't make it a bad design. It just means it was a quicker design. So anyway, the General Arts sent an email out to designers, I want to say in November, asking if anybody wanted to work with them and do like a limited thread pack kind of thing for market. And I've worked with them a number of times on these type of things, and I always enjoy it. I've been using sampler threads since the mid-90s. It was the first hand-dyed thread I ever saw, and I just loved it right away. I always like working with sampler threads, and Jim is hilarious. And so they sent me, kind of like a month went by, and I was like, okay, do they want to do this? And I contacted them, they're like, oh yeah, we'll send you some threads. So they sent me threads, and I said, okay, we just need to make sure that we choose colors where there's enough of them so that we can make enough thread packs for everybody to get one. So I kind of came down to like 3 colors, and it was a blue, a pink, and a blue, pink, and a green. And I got to name them. It's Pretty Pink, I think Spring Rain, and Green Bean. And anyway, I wanted to design a little piece where you can get the limited edition thread pack at market. So shops, make sure to go get yours. This will be probably my biggest market seller, I would guess. And it's cute. It was fun to stitch. It didn't take that long to stitch. It's a very pleasing little design. It's not really seasonal. I guess I'll hold it up. So this is called just Joy. There's nothing super creative about that it's called Joy. But it is a really cute little design. The colors are nice. What I did is I supplemented those 3 limited edition colors with 3 other colors from their line. Parchment, Old Red Paint, and Sable, which really was one of their first colors. And back when they were new, sable was used in a lot of things. And honestly, I haven't seen sable. I don't sell a lot of sable these days, but it is a good color. It's a very pretty little mocha brown. And so this frame I got at Laura's Custom Framing in Emmaus. And anyway, so it's what all the buzz is. I got a call, I got an email from Jim about a week ago, because I announced my releases about a week ago. And I got an email from Jim that night, like at 11 o'clock, that said, I need to talk to you, call me tomorrow. So I was like, okay. So I called him and I was like, hey, what's up, dude? And he was like, so you released this thing yesterday? And I was like, yep. And he was like, my phone's been ringing off the hook and my email box is full, and I spent 16 hours at the kitchen table making thread packs yesterday watching movies. Anyway, I think the thread packs are going to go fast. The chart is not a limited edition chart. And you for sure, I have a DMC conversion on the chart if you just want to stitch it in DMC. You can also supplement with other colors. It's just a light pink, a pretty green, and a light blue. So if you do miss the thread pack, you for sure could use something else in its place. Anyway, he just was joking. He's happy that people are excited about it. And when I went to pick up my models yesterday at Stitches Unlimited, just as I was leaving, the phone rang, and they picked up the phone, and it was a lady calling to order this chart. And they were like, oh, Teresa's literally standing right here. And I said, thank you for buying my chart. And so I talked to her for a minute, which is really funny. Okay, so that's my 10 market releases, and then the bonus one of the Glad Tidings with the funny little white bird. I will have about 40, I would guess it's probably about 40 different charts there. So it'll be these 10 and another 30 or 35 miscellaneous other models and charts that I sell. I also always have a lot of cool stuff. My son Harrison's been dyeing fabric like a crazy person. And so I'm going to have piles of fabric. It is first come, first serve. I am not taking pre-orders on fabrics of any kind. And it's just a lot of colors that are new. His Aida is gorgeous. He's really good at dyeing Aida. I don't stitch on Aida. I do sell it. His Aida is very, very pretty. And I just give him creative freedom to just make whatever colors he wants. I did tell him to lean heavy into the lighter colors this year. So I'm excited for y'all to see what he's been doing. I'll also have, miscellaneous other things for sale. I do have Holy Molys for sale for shops. I used to make 40 packs of Holy Molys where you got 10 each of 4 designs. They are so time consuming to put together. I don't have any plans to start doing that again anytime soon because it's just such a huge amount of time that goes into packaging those. But I made packs of 100, but I weighed them where it's 1 design each, and shops can buy the Holy Molys to tag their fabrics or to make thread cards or whatever they want to do with them. I had a lot of shops last year ask about the tags on my fabric, and they were like, do you have any of these for sale? And so this year I thought, yeah, I'll make a bunch for sale. So I've got those. I got other things, fun things too. So make sure to come by if you're at market. Okay. Because I am stitching again, I actually have some whips, and I have 2 finishes, one of which is also missing in action. I finished Joyeux Noël by Blackbird Designs. It is from the book called Joyeux Noël, I believe. And I don't think this chart is available in any booklet that's currently available right now. When I made my New Year's resolution to stitch every day, what I did is I made a list of all of my whips. And it wasn't, do I have it here? It wasn't too many, surprisingly. I don't see my thing. I don't know where it went. I want to say it was like 25-ish. And what I did is I made the list so that I could see what all I had to work on. And I put down a percentage of what I thought was already finished. So some things it was like I estimated I had 3% done. And some it's like 50%. Well, Joyeux Noël, I seem to remember that I took it to a retreat at one point and I was nearly finished it on the plane. All I had left was 2 numbers in the date. So it was like 12 stitches or 15 stitches. So that was the first one I did, and I had to finish the 1st of January, which was really cool. So I crossed that off my list. And then I picked up another whip of mine that I had started quite a while ago, and I went all gangbusters on it off and on a couple of times. And you know how it goes, like sometimes you have a project that you love the finished piece, but there's like one part of it you're kind of dreading, or you just don't like doing that kind of stitching. And of course mine was the over 1 verse at the top, and it wasn't even that long. It just is a dumb reason, but I kind of stopped working on it, and that's all I had left, plus a couple other little motifs. And it is Stacey Nash's Mary Bars sampler. And there's my finished sampler. It's all done. It's really pretty. Love the colors. Again, really pretty springy colors without being jelly bean. You know, it's just dusty pinks and greens and golds and, ecru. And yeah, I think it turned out really, really nice. I know it's one a lot of people have done or a lot of people have started. And next time I go to the frame shop, I'll pick a frame out for it. I still do my own stretching. So right now I'm just, if I need a frame, I go buy one. I order one, and then I just have her cut me foam core, and I do the stretching. I don't mind. So I was really glad to cross that one off my list too. And then, so my sister, Laura, I guess I probably haven't talked about Laura a lot. She is 7 years younger than I am. I'm 54, so she's 47. She has 4 boys, one of which is he's in college, and he's a sophomore. And then her next son is a senior in high school, and then the next one is a sophomore, and then the next one is an 8th grader, I believe. So they're 2 years apart. She's amazing. She homeschooled them. She has a master's degree in education and reading, and she did a great job like raising her kids. They're nice boys. They've all been encouraged to develop their, personal hobbies and their interests based on what they like. And they all have their own personality. They're just a great bunch of guys. But now that they're older, Luke will go to college this year, and then in 2 years, Tate will go, and then in 2 more years Noah will go, and then all of a sudden she'll be an empty nester. Well, I think she's discovering all of a sudden she has a little bit of free time. So she, around Christmas, I think she gets Christmas money from her in-laws, and she started shopping. She started looking at, she was like, I want to start cross-stitching again. And so we had a whole bunch of exchanges about like, well, she looked through her stash, and of course it's funny because pretty much everything in her stash was 20 years old, because that's when her son is 20ish. So she just had kids and then didn't have time to stitch, and so she's coming back to it, and she had some half-finished projects, and I think a few of those she did finish up. And then I think she used some of her Christmas money to get some stuff for me. And she's got the sister discount code for my website. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And anyway, so she and I have had a fun time talking about cross-stitching, and she's really gotten way into it. And she tends to throw herself wholeheartedly into her interests. And so she's having a great time. She even bought a few things on Etsy, things I hadn't seen before. So she kind of branched out a little bit. And then she was like, what's popular? And I like this. Is that popular? And it's like, oh, yeah, that's popular. So anyway, one of the things she bought was Live on Little by Paulette Stewart. And she bought the chart. And I think she might have bought a piece of fabric too. And I said, oh, I've got that in my whips. We should just do a stitch along. And she was like, what's a stitch along? And I was like, essentially, we just work on the same project at the same time, and then occasionally, send pictures to each other of how we're doing, or just talk about the project. So this is how much I've got done of mine. And it's really, really pretty. This, I think, was a retreat piece, and now it is available just as a chart. Anybody can buy the chart. And it's really pretty. I'll pop a picture up here of what it looks like all done. My friend Kathy Krause actually stitched the model, and I think she said she stitched it in like 18 days or something crazy like that. It's big, but it's pretty. The house, I love stitching a house, and this house was pretty involved just because you've got all the bricks and everything. The border is really pretty and fun to stitch. Sometimes borders aren't that fun, but I'm looking forward to finishing that one, and it's fun. It's fun to be working on something with my sister, so we have things to talk about. Not that we don't. Okay, and then I also recently finished this little pin cushion. Where did it go? Oh, okay. So I've been invited to be in all 4 issues of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher again this year. And I really like Deb. I think her magazine's really high quality. She puts a lot of love and care into it. When I design or create something for it, I really do want to lean into that primitive, the idea of primitive, Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. And so I like to do, reproduction style things, or things that are a little bit more primitive. So this is from, I thought I brought the sampler up. Did I? I did. Okay. So last year at Market, I released a reproduction, and I called it A Natural Beauty. And it is also one of my favorite things I've ever done. And I think it looks actually nice with my new sampler. It's kind of the similar color palette. This is the model. And I bought the original sampler a couple of years back from Dawn Lewis at Market. And it's just a jaw dropper. To me, it is. Because it's very organic and loosey-goosey and pretty. And it's just like leaves and twisting and curves. A lot of samplers are very angular. You've got angular letters, you've got angular borders, angular motifs. The verses are angular. This one does a great job of just feeling natural and kind of free-flowing. And this rectangular bow knocks me out. It's so cute. Anyway, I always loved this little basket at the top. And I thought for people maybe who hadn't seen that reproduction, that I would just take that motif and chart it for the magazine so that you could make your own little pin cushion out of it. I don't know, my finishing was so-so on the circle. It was a little trickier to do than I thought. But anyway, I think it's pretty cute. It was really fun to do, and it would be a quick little project. I decorated it with a little antique button for my antique button collection. But it would be cute with like a charm too. And I did back it with linen. And probably olive trim again. I guess it's my favorite color. So that's going to be in the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. It's always a great value. You get like 30 projects or 25 projects for $9.99, and the paper quality is really good. And she's got a lot of great designers in there too. So if you If you don't already subscribe to the magazine, you should, or I carry it so you can always buy it from me if you're placing orders. So there. Okay, now I'm going to turn the page. Okay, so just kind of news about things that are going on with me. I kind of have felt like a shift in the winds. You know, I've been really going at it hard since the pandemic started and just kind of putting fires out all day, every day, just packing orders as fast as I can and getting stuff in and updating my website and everything. And I'm just feeling like we changed scenery, we changed communities, and I'm wanting to shift my business model just a little bit. I've been working on reducing the number of items that I carry. I typically had been stocking about 6,000 different items, and that's fabrics, quilting fabrics, charts, threads, tools, other items, whatever. You know, you get so that some of those just, you know, you sell them when they're new, and then maybe they just kind of back off some. So I've been working on reducing, you know, some of the designs, not fabrics really. I mean, I sell a lot of stitching fabric. I probably am not really going to be carrying much for quilting fabric anymore. I love to get it in. It is time consuming to cut. And so, you know, people might order a stack of cuts of fabric. And so each one involves pulling, you know, finding in my shelving units the fabric they want, pulling it out, unrolling it, cutting it, rolling it back up, putting it away, folding it up. And it's just a really time consuming, it eats up a lot of time to cut fabric like that all the time. I may still carry some, but I think it's time to just let that part of my business go a little bit. I am adding a few new fabric dyers. There's Needle and Flax. It's one of those that, like, for a couple of years I've been like, oh yeah, I need to email her and start getting her fabric, and I just haven't done it. So I finally contacted her. I was like, can I order your fabric? She was like, yeah, great. And I was like, super. So I just placed an order. And then I contacted the gal at Cedar River Linens. Brenda Gervais uses one of her fabrics in her new market release, her reproduction. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty color. And I went and looked at the rest of her stuff, and I was like, oh, these are nice. Like, these are practical colors. I would like to design with them. I was talking to her, and she was like, oh my gosh, I love your designs. And I was like, I love your fabrics. And so it was the Mutual Admiration Society immediately. And so I have a huge order in with her, and I ordered all of it, every color of her fabric. I think I'm initially getting it in 36 and 40 count linen, and then some Aida. I've gotten so I sell a lot more Aida these days, and even to people who are ordering linen also. So like, I'll pack an order and it'll be some Aida and some linen. I tend to carry 16 and 18 and 20 count. And 20 count Aida is great because if you like the look of the samplers stitched small and you have something that's primitive, 20 count is 40 count stitched over too, right? And so you get that tiny, like, tight little delicate look on the Aida, which is really cool. I want to do more designing and reproducing. You know, like I said, I have got all these releases for market. I've been doing stuff for retreats. I've been doing stuff for the magazine. I love that part of my job, and it's really rewarding, and I just want to do more of that. I have been doing some retreats. I'm kind of back in action with that. I didn't take retreats for a couple of years just because my dad's health was poor, and we just never knew, you know, if we were going to need to make emergency trips anywhere. I did a few retreats last year. I have a few coming up this year. I'm going to be at the Silver Needle, October 8th and 9th, and 10th and 11th. So it's two back-to-back retreats with just, it's a, what would I call it? Select group in the She Shed. So it's like 40-ish per group. So it's really nice because you get to meet everybody, and it's more intimate. And it's the room is wonderful. Lindy throws a great retreat. And so there are no openings the 10th and 11th, but there are openings the 8th and 9th at this time. So jump on that if you're in the area, or if you just want to come and see me. It's not a reproduction. I'm just going to say that. It's not a reproduction. It will be one of my original designs. I also have a retreat coming up at Stitches Unlimited this fall. She doesn't do weekend retreats. It's a day retreat. So it's a one-day deal. It is going to be October 25th, my cousin Darcy's birthday, and my friend Sue's birthday. And that's going to be a fun time too. Again, an original design. If you want to sign up for that retreat, I'll put links below to the Silver Needle and Stitches Unlimited's website. You may want to give them a call if you want to sign up. I am also in the Silver Needles. Ty says, I'd like to see you too. I know it, buddy. So I'm in the Silver Needle Circle of Friends. The design is already done. I just have to do the finishing and photography. And that is this spring. My design will come out this spring. That's a club where I think there's like maybe 6 of us designers, and you sign up for a kit that you get like every other month or something like that. And that's always fun to do. I've done that once before with her. I'm going to be at the Sampler Guild of the Rockies April retreat, the April 12th and 13th. And that is a reproduction. And it's a nice group. I did a Zoom call lecture for them once, and such nice people, really, really nice. And you do not have to live there to belong to their guild. You can join their guild, and they have great teachers come in regularly for retreats. I've got another retreat this year that has not been announced yet, so I can't say anything about that. I also am in Country Samplers Threads of History Schoolgirl Sampler Club this year. Mine is this spring. And the other 3 designers in it are Kathleen Littleton from Cross Stitch Antiques, Vicki Jennett from Needlework Press, and Scarlet House, Tanya Brockmeyer. It's a great group of gals to be included with. And so you can, I'll put links to her website down there too if you want to sign up for that. I do have a couple of things that are already decided for next year. And I actually am, once market season is over here, I am looking to organize an event here in the Lehigh Valley. And I won't really say much about it right now, but it's going to be good. And there are just so many stitchers in this area. I'm so close to a lot of big population areas, and people here just craft. My sales to Pennsylvania have increased hugely since we moved here. I think just because we're closer, but a lot of people craft here. I went to Stitches Unlimited yesterday, and her store was full on Saturday morning of people buying stuff to stitch, which was great. Okay, so just a couple more things. I thought I'd add a new feature where I share an antique from my collection. One of the really fun things about the past couple of years is that, just with how busy I've been able to acquire a pretty nice sampler collection. I kind of watch for good deals and interesting samplers. And some of them I reproduce quickly. Some of them I have like on the long-term list to reproduce. And some of them I know I will never reproduce because maybe they have elements to them that don't, lend themselves easily to being reproduced, especially a lot of embroidery. And so I have a sampler here. I got all lovey-dovey all of a sudden, right? I got to pick up a sampler. So this one is from my collection, and I'll put a few photographs up. I don't know how well this is gonna, like if I hold this up. So this is an embroidered, back up a little bit. This is embroidered, and you can see just by the shininess of the threads that these are not cross stitches. I did not pay that much money for this. It is French, and you can see above the central floral motif, the bouquet in the pot, are the initials EC or EG. I'm assuming that's the stitcher's initials. And then at the bottom in the center, you can see it says Fay Lan 1814, which means made in the year 1814. It's in wonderful condition, but as you can see, it doesn't lend it's not a cross-stitch sampler. It is an embroidered sampler. And so I have it hanging on my wall here in my craft room. It's inspiring to look at. Her work was absolutely beautiful. The stitching is still very clear and crisp and even. I can't imagine the amount of work that went into this. Hey, Ty, did you get lovey-dovey all of a sudden? Anyway, so I thought I would share that for my collection so you guys could see it and share it. Wouldn't she be amazed to know, like, I can just show this on a magic window that other people can see into this magic window from their house and see her work? She must have been quite a lady. Yeah, very pretty. It's a prized. So it says it was out of Vixbox's Art Galleries, 12413 Cedar Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio. And I think I might have, I think I bought this just at an online auction and won it a couple of years back. Anyway, happy to share that. Love it. Okay, just a few more things and then we'll go. I've got some market prep left. Last year I started shipping my stuff to market ahead of me. And, you know, to me, I think my least favorite part of market is getting everything in the car, getting it to the hotel, dragging it upstairs. I don't know if you guys think about it. Paper is so heavy, and it's mostly what I sell at market. And so like one box of 2,500 sheets of paper weighs almost 40 pounds. And so you got to figure when you have, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of charts, thousands of charts, it's very heavy and it's very hard work to lift and it's just dead weight. And so it's one of my least favorite things is to try to get that stuff. They have carts at market and a lot of times like the wheels are not inflated enough, or you get one that's struggling, or like just the weight of what you have, you're just pushing with all your might. It's a miracle I haven't torn the carpet at any point. So last year I kind of got into market at the last minute. I had skipped a year. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to ship stuff. I had never done it before, mostly because I knew horror stories of vendors who shipped their stuff and it didn't get there on time. And so they had nothing to sell, or it got there and some of it was damaged or missing. And so in my mind, I was like, I kind of worst case scenarioed myself out of wanting to ship it. And last year I was like, I had all this fabric to take and I was like, I don't have room for everything and I don't want to carry it upstairs. I'm going to be 55 in 2 weeks and I don't need to injure myself at market. So I shipped 30 boxes out this last week, and beautifully, I had UPS come and they picked it up from my garage. And the next time I see it will be when I put my key in my hotel room and walk into my room. It will all just be there in a big pile. It's such a great feeling. I don't know. I wish I had started doing that sooner. I was just scared that things would go awry. And if they do, you just adjust. So I have kits to make yet today for my little violet pincushion. I'm down to 44 orders in the queue. The website is shut off right this second. I will turn it back on Wednesday, I think. I thought I could get by without shutting it off, but I don't like people to wait too long. And I only have so many hours in the day. I've literally been working all waking hours for weeks now. Not complaining about it. It's actually, I super enjoy it. It's very rewarding and really fun. But it's just a lot to do. And so I just didn't want people to place orders that then were going to sit in my queue for a week and a half or 2 weeks, because I'm going to be gone almost a week for market. I am driving. It used to be a 6-hour drive out of Hattiesburg. It is now a 12-hour drive. And so my plan is to do the trip there in stages, leave one afternoon, drive a good long while, stop for the night, and then drive the rest of the way the next day. And then when I come back, I'm going to come back not on Monday, but Tuesday. Typically at market, everybody leaves either Sunday night. The vendors cannot pack up until the show closes at 4. Some people immediately close up and leave. We have to pay for Sunday night, and then you have to be out by Monday morning at 11. And for me, it is a struggle because I'm coming home with a lot of merchandise for my website too. So it's getting everything downstairs amidst everybody else trying to do the same. And so sometimes you can't get a cart. Sometimes the drive at the front is all clogged up with cars and trucks and things. And so I don't get out of there sometimes until right at 11 when you have to be out of there. And then because it's such a long drive, I didn't want to load the car all morning and be exhausted and frustrated. I'm always very frustrated by the time I leave because I'm just ready to get on the road. So I decided to stay until Tuesday. So I'm going to Monday, I'm going to go do some shopping. I'm going to meet with a friend and leisurely pack my vehicle. I may ship some stuff. I don't know. So, what I have left to do really is the kits. I'm going to print some more charts. It's always a guess as to how many to bring. I kind of know what I sell each year. But then you just don't know the joy. I keep printing more because I keep feeling like that's going to be the big seller. And so I'm printing more charts here, there, and everywhere. But I really was on top of it this year, so I don't feel frazzled at all. Everything is super under control. I have a list of my supplies to gather. You know, I have to take things like pens and paper and scissors and a stapler. And there's a really ugly picture in everybody's room. Everybody has this same ugly picture that looks like amoebas or like rock or something. You can't tell what it is. It's out of focus and the colors are terrible. And so a lot of us will cover that picture up with like paper so that we're not looking at it all weekend. And I got to bring my drop cloths, and I got to bring my lights for the tables, and I got to bring my staging elements and invoices and shopping bags and equipment. And I've got a little credit card reader that I bring. And I've got a Muppet lunchbox, my Muppet lunchbox from back when I was a kid. That's where I keep my cash and my change for orders. And so it's just a lot of that stuff, and I get excited because it's like, okay, this is really going to happen. And by the time I hit the road, I'm like ready to be there, because Nashville it's our Christmas in the industry. Everybody's excited to see each other. It's so much fun seeing what everybody's been working really hard on and the creativity involved. It's really fun meeting the store owners and the designers that you've known for many years. Everybody updates each other. There's a lot of hugging, a lot of high-fiving. I don't know if I see that much high-fiving. I'm going to high five. Hey, if you come by and you give me a high five, I'll give you a high five back. A lot of laughing, a lot of loud talking, a lot of jostling, a lot of did you see this and did you get this? And oh my gosh, my customers are going to love this. And and then there's a lot of, so what's next? What do you have next to release? And it's like, I just brought all the stuff. But I am working on other things because I do want to do more designing. And I thought about, there was one more I was maybe going to release, and I thought, you know what, 10 is probably enough. I don't think I've ever released 10, so we'll see how it goes. Things I'm excited about at market, Teresa Kogut has got this bird that's on black fabric. I'll put a picture of him here. I want to stitch that one. I love that one. Issy from the Primitive Hair has this moth. I love that. It's on her printed fabric, which I love, and I would also like to stitch that. Kathleen Littleton from Cross Stitch Antiques has some beautiful reproductions. Love them. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm excited about the new Weeks Dye Works colors. The new Classic Colorworks colors are nice too. I haven't seen anything from the Gentle Art as far as what their new colors will be. I have heard that Weeks Dye Works will have some new fabric colors, not there to purchase, but there to order. So they'll have samples to look at. And they haven't released new colors for a few years at least. So that's kind of cool. Paulette Stewart's new stuff was really, really cute. Stacey Nash, her little animals are really cute. I like her frog. He or she's cute. So it's, and Brenda Gervais is back this year. And of course, her stuff is always wonderful. I guess my favorite one of hers is her reproduction. And I would like to put that in my stitching rotation as well. So I don't only get excited just for my customers, for like what I can bring back for you and what you'll be excited to see. I get excited for myself, especially now that I'm stitching every day, because it means I'll have fun and pretty things to work on. And I have a lot of admiration for the just creative women and creative men in this industry who work very hard to provide all of you and me too with fun thread and beautiful fabric and inspiring designs and lovely kits and the tools that we need to get our things done. It's just a great, great, great community to be a part of, and that includes the creators, that includes the shop owners and the website people, and it includes the stitchers as well. It's just the best. I love it. It's like the best. Sometimes, literally, when we moved here and we kept coming across things like Uline, I get my shipping supplies from Uline. It's 5 minutes from my house. I used to have to get it on a semi truck on a pallet. Now I can just drive over there and get supplies. Carrabba's is one of my favorite restaurants, and I know it's like just a classier Olive Garden. 10 minutes from my house. The post office is 5 minutes from my house instead of a half an hour. I've got this cool Bee and Bear place that's nearby that's got like all the rug hooking and stuff. The farmer's market. I love our neighborhood. Like I regularly am like, I must be dead. I must be dead and I went to heaven somehow, because this feels perfect and wonderful, and I appreciate every single minute of it. I appreciate every single facet of it. it's a dream come true. It's like a dream I didn't know that came true. It's like it's like a surprise party. We just feel really blessed and lucky, and we do not take any bit of it for granted. It is, living the dream is living the dream. I mean, it's really, really, really great. And couldn't be better. Like, you can always find things to complain about, but why bother? Anyway, I'm very glad to be back. I promise it's not going to be 2 years. I make no apologies that it's been 2 years. It was necessary for just mental health reasons. And, some days I actually would sit down and be like, okay, get my book out and I'll make some notes and make a video today. I was like, Therese, why don't you just put your feet up today? Why don't you make muffins instead? And like I said, I just feel like a change is in the air, and I want to come back to this because this is something that I do enjoy doing. And I do appreciate those of you who support me, whether it's through purchases or just watching my videos or sending me nice little notes. It's great. It's great. Anyway, I promise it won't be long. I'm hoping to shoot a few little videos and conversations for market. I definitely will be posting on Instagram as well. And until next time, see ya.